Welcome to the Faith in the Wild podcast, where the path is rarely straight, but always sacred. I'm Nicole Moran.
And I'm Angelica McCarthy. For 20 years, we've been walking this journey of life together, stumbling, rising, and discovering God's presence in unexpected places.
Today, we're creating space for conversation and reflection, inviting you to venture into the wilderness with us, because sometimes the most profound truths are found when we step off the marked trails and trust that we're exactly where we need to be.
So take a deep breath, open your heart, and join us as we explore what it means to have faith in the wild.
Hi, Ange. How are you today?
I'm doing well. I feel an energy shift. In that energy shift, I'm like, oh, I just got to write it all out and line it up. So I'm actually feeling inspired. I'm feeling intentional. Now I just need to lock in. I knew that once we got to this point today, you and I, this would be that extra energy for me. After this, I'm going to go just like lock it in. I'm going to have silence in the house. Like,
it's a good space.
How are you today?
I love that kickoff. I come a little tired and really appreciative of the structure that we put around this. Let's just say that. I really appreciate this time on our calendars that we given to ourselves. Again, just, selfishly that I get to connect with one of my best friends, and personally to continue pushing myself outside of my comfort. I'm not gonna lie, I love an app right now. Kiddos, we're dealing with almost 1-year-old and a solid 2.5-year-old. Every day brings a new gift. We're going to stick to that.
For those who are listening, Nicole's eyes just went wide. Gift was in bold, italicized, underlined, may have been in caps, like with her eyes.
So I feel like that cartoon where my eyes just comes out of my face.
Yeah, they bug out.
No, but it's good. I mean, it pushes, and I really appreciate that. But I also appreciate this space to reconnect and be with an adult during the day. So that's where I'm at. I'm feeling this last week. I'm encouraged by this space, and I'm excited to continue to move through what we created here.
Well, last week we talked about trust. How did trust treat you the rest of into the week? Because we start the week. So
I love that this is the kickoff of the week, right?
I
love that space.
Well, as any kickoff, sometimes you need that extra boost, or sometimes it's just falls right in alignment and it just catapults you.
It really does. Good. I think we talked a little bit about what this week was going to be. I was really intentional with the ending of our conversation and the throughput of that conversation around trust and where truth aligns with it, kind of where my space is right now. I had a chance this morning during the walk to revisit last week a little bit. And again, just want to say I'm really proud of us for putting this all together.
High five.
That's what connected with me, revisiting last week, going through this week, which was just a heavy week. I can't say anything catastrophic, but it was just heavy. All parts of me were a little heavy. There's more demanding work on me. We got birthdays coming up. So the space of time and recreating all these special moments. Newsflash for those of you unaware of this. Moms are actually the ones who create that for us when we were children. Didn't know that until I signed up for it.
Birthdays?
Special. Anything special.
Any event, special event.
Waiting around for somebody to show up. I'm like, so who's going to bring the cake? Oh wait, that's me. That's me. So again, it's not a difficult space to be in. It's a little bit more to be on the mind. And then,
unless you're an event planner where it's in your everyday, that's an extension of
God gave a lot of gifts.
Yes.
This is one that I lean on, and my sister would be like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
She shows up happily and
she's a planner. She's an event planner.
God puts these people in our life. Thank you, Lord.
Yes.
But it just marriage and growing. It was a heavier week. Revisiting last week with the language around trust and the conversation that we had there really kind of brought some light to what we want to talk about today with this little bit of truth. But I also think will allow us to see where that lands us.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think we just flow into where truth aligns with trust. I'm curious, like, where are you at? What did you find?
Yeah. So I think I listened to the last part of our conversation a few times when I was recapping on, what are some of the tools that I surround myself to build trust? One of those words I threw out there was truth. And so going down what that looks like for me is throughout my professional career, mainly, I feel that I have to, I put a box around myself when I talk about what truth is. I feel like I talk what I feel people need to hear from me, and which is great. There's nothing wrong. It's not a negative space to be in, but am I really embodying my true self and speaking truth from a part within me that God has blessed me in and given me passion in this space to speak from? Or am I kind of putting myself in, we'll just allude to a box probably throughout this conversation for me, for a lack of a better term at this point, but putting myself in the box of where I feel like I should be, right? You should say these things. You should do these things. This is the right space to be in. You say one thing that sounds right, but are you really digging? Are you really surrounding yourself in a place to really bring truth out of you? I think I did some discovery on that, and it's very challenging for me to do that. It's easy for me to be in this conversation with you as my best friend, and we've developed a relationship of vulnerability, which takes time.
Sure does.
To get to the conversations that we're having today that we have had throughout our relationship. And as I embark on, a new marriage and kids and new friendships, where I'm at now, where my 2 feet are, and where I am with work and the whole purpose thing, it's like, am I speaking truth of myself? And so it's something that kind of knocked on the door this week, and I'm like, oh boy. So that's where I see it aligning. I see my trust as one of the tools to gain trust and to be in trust and work through that journey of what trust is. Because I think that was something we talked about before. It's like, what's the journey, not the destination? Is truth is a big part of that picture for me. I think that's a general overview of where I'll stop for now, because I'd love to hear your reactions to that and hear where you feel you're at after last week.
The terms that you put of putting yourself in the box, my understanding of that is either like masks or different shades. If you think of the chameleon that has to change within its environment, whereas like, no, I'm going to be bright as hell like this, and whatever environment it is, it's still going to be bright. You said another thing within the context of putting it in a box. For me, it's in having to always find meaning. It's the analytical side of my brain, the science side of my brain, the health side of my brain that always needs to have an answer or a path for a solution or whatever that looks like in order to care or have answers for the external of what I do. When it comes to truth, you saying knocking on the door and saying, I opened the door with my therapist last Monday when we were starting to get there. It's like, even in therapy, sometimes I'm only speaking to try to have the right answer because I know I do. But what is the essence deeper within? At that point, I was like, I don't know anything about my truth, but I do. It was more so, wait, actually, I'm looking at the side of the mask that has just a little bit of a shadow, and it's not front facing, it's angled this way to try to like show the essence of who I am, but is it really rooted down and blaringly, and it's not going to change with the environment? That was a pretty cool realization. First, it made me cry. Then it was a cool realization after I let out the tears of, okay, it's continuing to break away that essence of just needing to be that good person. It's like, I am a good person. I don't have to be it. I am. Like, it's just innately. And that I am actually the truth. It connects more to God. And I didn't bring my journal up here. I don't even know where it was. I haven't fully unpacked. But when I went to Elevation Nights with my mom on Friday, the title of Stephen Furtick's sermon was something about tuning into truth. His analogy was He actually was playing a guitar. Someone came out and untuned the guitar and played the chords and how like dissonant and And then he's like, this is what happens when we're external and we're trying to be in control and all these things. And then he turned around and made the example of the pianist who's on a digital. The chords and keys are all like, they're not going to change, not even with the weather, not even with anything. The environment is going to be there, whereas guitars can shift and change, always needing to be tuned. He would ask the pianist or God to play the tunes, and then he started the tune, incrementally tuned into the key that God or the pianist was giving. That analogy made so much sense to me of finding truth, knowing logically and being aware. The truth is just as much the good side as it is the shadow side. Like it's the strengths and the power and the character and the personality and the gifts and all of those things, but it's just as much that shadow where it's important. But that truth is something that is that continual connection. That's the thing that I feel like I'm way better with now in this stage of life versus probably 6 months ago, definitely a year ago. Like that's the empowering part of truth and knowing like I don't have to have the answer because that's what my brain wants the answer. It's just more of continuing to do the work to connect and learn and read and grow and relationships and all those things that are so dynamic that help to allow me to be my true self within it. I like to say being of the world, not in the world. Like you're not in the box. It's a more openness, I guess. So that's my journey with truth without me even knowing it. I was literally trying to study and be like, sit in a chair, self-reflection, like, what is God saying today? I literally was putting myself in a structure to try to find the answer. And then I go to the elevation nights and I was like, well, he didn't really talk about truth. He talked more about tuning. And then I just went back and I was like, oh, wait, God is truth. Duh. And so that's where I'm at.
I love that. One, I want to hear more about the concert. Because love them.
We'll talk about it.
About that space. I really like that. You know, God is truth. Last week, just reflecting on kicking this off and what this looks like for us. Last week, I felt that it's the analytical side of me. I have to prepare. I have to study. I have to have all of this stuff together because this is what I need, like a presentation. The whole point and the essence of what we're doing is having a conversation with ourselves, with our future selves, with our past selves, with God. Like that's what this space is, right? And
yes,
how am I going to cultivate this structure to allow me to like, hey, this is great. And that's really like has brought you success. And like God has given you that brain structure to utilize that. But he's also given you a lot of this other purpose and drive and creativity. And let's see how we figure out what the balance is. And I think some of that comes through in truth to me. And it's the truth that you're surrounding yourself with on the daily. Some of the work that I was thinking of this week and reflecting with some friends, some different lectures that I was listening to, there was a lot of language around we turn a lot to God. I turn to God in the sense of something's going wrong or I'm about whatever that extreme sentence is. I got the news of this, or I'm stressed about this. I'm worried about this, whatever that looks like. And then it's like, okay, I need to turn to him. And there was a lot of conversations this week that I was in that's like, how do you arm yourself? How do you arm yourself and what do you want to arm yourself with? Almost kind of like, and you know, both of us with athletic backgrounds, it's like training. And I'm like, why didn't I think about it like that? I don't want truth just to show up in a time of crisis. I think that's a little strong, but even in a time, maybe it is, right? Maybe that's.
I think it's yes, and it's both, and it's all of the above and none of the above. Yes, it does sometimes take crisis, but it's also in those non-crisis moments. It's all of the above, really.
And it's like spending that time to surround yourself in that truth will only allow whatever hard is upon you not to make that light. Hard is always going to be hard. It might even get hard, and that's fine. But like knowing that you're not doing it alone, surround yourself with the truth that God is telling you, as well as the people that live in that truth with you to continue to support you through whatever line you're at, right? And so we were talking about Moses and we were talking about him taking, like parting the Red Sea and journeying through. And I was kind of, because I compartmentalize things, I was thinking about the whole journey of them, right? leaving slavery. Okay, we're at a big body of water. We're getting rushed by the opposition. Where are we going to go? God's like, I got you. Just give me a second. Let me move this way. Walk on through. Right? You got there. But then there's nothing. We don't have food. We don't have water. Hard got harder. Right? And travel. Decades go by. And we finally hit what we think is this promised land. Right? And it is. It's whatever that goal is for you. And you hit that line and you are looking and observing with what it is. And you're like, there are people smarter than me, stronger than me. Like everything the world has and says what our truth should be. A lot of the devil speaking through us and from people. And it's like, I can't do this. I'm too small. I can't do this. I'm not smart enough. Whatever those words that keep coming through. And you're standing here on the brink of the greatness in which you're going to be. And you're at this line like, I think hard just got harder.
Yeah.
But don't forget all of the truths behind you and let that empower you to take that step. And so that's been really flowing through me this week. It's like, whatever that line is, don't forget about the truths that he's been telling us. He is not forsaking us. He has never failed. Never failed.
Never.
And I think maybe I'm standing there right now, kind of at that line. And so I think that really resonated with me. And when I think about truths, I think about everything that he's given me in my life. And it's like, gosh, what are you waiting for?
Yeah.
What are you waiting for? And those are the truths of the exercise that I need to continue on, is remembering where I've been. And so I got to give a shout out to this guy who came to preach and teach on Sunday. Great storyteller. You ever listen to a great storyteller?
Yeah. The older I get and the more I continue to understand and learn myself, visuals and stories just locks it in even more. So I love storytelling.
And he threw out his version of the story. I'm making it Nicole's version here. What he said is he called what I'm talking about the rhythm of remembrance. When you were talking about the guitar and the piano of God, it kind of goes into that rhythm of remembrance. It's like, okay, this is the truth. Let me follow that. Let me surround myself in that. Let me get back in tune. And it's that rhythm that might go off key a little bit. And that's okay, because we're not perfect. I'm not saying I'm going to be perfect. I'm going to fall forward, but I'm going to follow the truths that I surround myself with and I arm myself with.
Yeah.
That's the space that I've been really in this week. It's been really hard to get
to get to this point, you said?
This conversation, I could tell you 5 minutes before, I was like, I had my head in my hands, like just praying. I was like, give me words, because I didn't have But this is good. I'm glad we're recording.
Where in your body is it coming from? These words.
We're outside the box now, right? Maybe we're just like chilling on the top of it at the moment, right? I'm hanging out a little bit, but like,
you're not restricted by it.
No, not in the sense that I had last week. It's a journey. Not saying I won't go back, but I think there were thoughts, and it's always the devil speaking in through you, right? And you're like, I'm not sure this is going to work. What am I doing here? What am I going to speak? What is useful, not only to myself, but also, hopefully giving a space to others, giving a space to you, respecting you and your journey and all of those things. And it's like, you know what? I don't have to have all the answers, because sometimes it'll just come through. And where we're at this week, it's kind of fun.
I believe you. I believe that you. I truly do. Because that's the essence of truth. I can see it energetically in you, that you're okay amongst all of it. The hardship of it, just as much as like, oh, there's that glimmer of light, or that glimmer of whatever it could be that's allowing me to step out of the box.
Pretty cool. Half the battle sometimes is just showing up.
Yeah.
And so
it definitely is.
Appreciating the space to show up in.
Yeah, the space to show up in. I definitely this morning was like, energetically all over the place. So usually energetically all over the place and paying attention and making sure I'm feeling all right and being me. It's usually, hey, do I got to cancel this? Like maybe I just call Nicole and say, can we reschedule? And I said, nope, just flow, flow with it. And yeah, I was like, I got to be prepared. I got to have my books and my notes.
Why is that? What is that?
I don't know.
Where does that come from?
I think learning,
education. We're very similar in that mind. And
it actually makes me think of when I was at home with my parents, I brought all these books with me because I've been reading different things in what I want to create next. I want to go deeper. That's just the energy that I'm in, like going deeper for myself, to understand, to grow those roots, to go taller. It's the same thing with whatever I want to create, to put out, to have that impact. What is the essence of where it comes from, whether it's through idea, thought, like what is the connection? The connection always comes back to the truth of God. I was in the Bible all weekend. My dad was asking me, he was saying, it's because you have to know what you're talking about. I said, yeah, but then it's like half the time I don't want to know. It's a knowing. It's an intuitive knowing. But then that extra research ends up being something that continues, like it fuels it versus it being like, I have to like. So I think it's a school thing. All of that to say, I think it's a school thing as to why I'm like that. It works though. It works when it needs to work.
It sure does. But sometimes it just overtakes the allowance of creativity and unstructured, like that uncultivated land that doesn't need structure yet.
Yeah.
Right. And so part of the journey as it's coming to me now is like, how do you turn it on and off? And I think that's where a little bit of trust is, and a little bit of giving the space up. Like for me, it's control. So
yeah,
those two things in my mind, they go at it a little bit. And I think that's something I'm working on, giving that space. That's great that you're good at research and being organized, and you can put a great presentation together. I can tell a story at the beginning. We can kind of dive into it at the middle. I can round it up at the end, and we'll have a great conversation. But is that what I'm looking to do here?
Yeah. Well, you had been mentioning gifts. And like you said, that's one of your gifts. You have that gift of organization in that way to communicate when you need to.
Yeah.
Truth and gifts are kind of like sitting with me, and they're not equal, but there's something there that's keeping them connected right now. And I got to look back real quick as we're chatting, because I think I wrote something along the lines about that. Because what I was doing was researching Spontaneity. Oh, I can't find it. This is what happens when you write too much and then you have too many books.
That's okay.
I didn't come.
I was going to ask what book that was. Is that book number 1A, B, C, 2?
This is journals number 1. This is probably 2. This is the to-go one, and then I bring the bigger ones too. There's too many words on the page. Yes, we were talking about spiritual gifts in here. Where is that page? Spiritual gifts and truth. For me, that's definitely where I find myself diving into. As we talked about careers thus far and the transition into God's purpose and the impact we want for his body, for the world, for our communities, whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
It's an understanding, like, what is my truest gift? I find myself blind to it. And that's where I'm digging to connect with.
I want to just keep digging there, because I think that's such a fun space. I wrote that down as continuing on this topic, maybe next too, but why do you feel blinded to it? What space do you feel blinded to?
Because I'm shedding the doing of the gift.
Okay.
And that is like the physical of being an athletic trainer, of knowing that anyone who comes in with pain, dis-ease, like anything they need to navigate, whether I know the answer or not, I know that I have the skill set to be able to. I've mastered the essence of my skill set to where I feel I'm supposed to be. Having so many years of being in that mindset or embodied sense of care in that way, my mind still wants to be in that space because I know how to do that. Put a blindfold on me and give me one hand, and I'm still going to align your back.
Yeah.
And then we'll go do this and all that. This is where, with that work, my mask is off to the side, and maybe, it's a little flipped by math.
Yeah. What does that feel like in you? Like, where do you feel that? Can you locate it?
As I'm talking about it, it's definitely in my head. And then when it's in my head, it actually makes me tight. Not anxious, but it's just like I start to feel tight here because I know it's not where I want to be anymore. Actually, let's like all the things that I've done and known, and that this is where the analytical side comes in. It needs to like lay it all out to see what the cards are, to see what the pieces are, to take away the pieces that are of support and essence of the gifts or skills or things that I can take with me, and let go of the rest. But I think it's a two-edged situation. It's what my brain is telling me, that this is what you do, this is what you've done all these years. And it's also my sense of enoughness. And looking at both of them, it's that digging deeper, it's that opening that door. It's like, why don't you believe? I tell myself that I believe, I tell you that I believe, but the sense of feeling that belief, I'm short.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I think that really does. I think it's something that, I mean, I can resonate with you from that professional standpoint. And I feel that alignment between trust and truth. I will let you know, before I had kids, I very much self-identified by the work I did, by the achievements I achieved, by that analytical side of my brain, which was great. It wasn't a bad thing. There was nothing bad that occurred there, but it wasn't my truth. It was allowing me to function in a box that had great achievements, not saying anything bad. And God was always with me in that. And I know he was. I can look back and see the journey where I started to where I am now. And 110% I wouldn't be at that spot if it wasn't for him along the road. But he is definitely like, okay, it's getting a little crowded in here in this box. Like, it's time to open. And what that looks like to me is completely uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And that is completely uncomfortable. And I think some of it also, some of the words we were talking about it with some friends this weekend with my life group, is fear.
Yeah.
Throwing that word out there. And I need to do some work on that one before I dive into that conversation. But it was interesting. Yeah. The question came out, what do you fear? And I think there's an alignment between trust, truth, and then you throw that word in there. And I have such an interesting kind of immediate feeling to fear in that word and that language. But I think that for myself, to continue to arm myself with the truths will help me uncover where some of my fears are. Because I mean, from a professional standpoint, I had such a hard time going from full-time to part-time, not because I don't love my children and felt like that was where I needed to be in this season of my life. 100% God was like, come on, take the exit, right? But the fear and the self-identification of, this is my comfort zone, this is what I know, this is what I'm good at, all of those things combined were my truths, but they weren't his truths, and they aren't his truths. His truths are far beyond the truths that I can even comprehend. And so allowing that space to kind of, using a word from last week, unfold, these unfolding things and these layers to go into trust and truths. Some of that is acknowledging what my fears are and allowing myself to live in that. And it's completely uncomfortable for me to even say that out loud, because it came back to, it's like, well, I'm answering these questions how I feel like I should answer them, or feel like I'm comfortable in answering them. And these are women that are in my life and will forever be in my life and sit next to me. Part of these type of conversations that we're having, and hopefully have listeners as well, we don't have it all figured out. I don't have it all figured out, but I think part of this journey is this unfolding and living in this uncultivated space to unmask what's next, right? And so, I don't know, I just felt like that is, just like you were talking about spiritual gifts, I think fear is another topic that is on this journey.
Yeah, and as you were talking about fear, I can remember certain moments of, oh yeah, this is definitely fear centered. And then I can also sense, like, right now, I don't feel fearful. And I think it's probably that difference between the subconscious and the conscious parts of fear. Like, unless I'm fearful because I'm walking somewhere, like,
right,
down an alley in New York City, I'm like, I shouldn't be walking down here. Like, obviously that's the hairs on the back of your neck type fear. And also in the fear of starting something new at a position, my first year, and my first time really having this big responsibility. I remember those fears too. This does not feel at all, which is the best feeling in the world. If it's not fear, if it's not overwhelmed, then what is that one little thing that's just keeping me filled like I'm weighed down? And I think it is honestly that unfolding and that uncultivating that you're talking about is anything else. And I forget where I saw it. It may have been through something that I'm reading. Also, that truth of making sure that you're reading the right information, that you're perceiving it the right way, things like that. But it was, I forget what it was, but it was saying that you had to be in this process right now so that you can truly get to the essence of self, like get to that place where it is your truth. It's not the masks like we were talking about. When that was said, I'm like, yeah, heard. I hear you. Yeah. I understand. I agree. So, what does that all look like? And I think maybe, no, it's not fear. It's not fear, but it's something, because it's that mode where you just want to like cocoon and just figure it out. I don't want to be anywhere. I just need to sit here in the corner. That's where I'm back and forth with.
I challenge you to dissect fear, and you can be like, all right, Nicole, throw it to the wayside. My immediate reaction is, no, I'm not fearful, right? My immediate reaction, I'm like, well, no, not, I mean, same with you. I'm like, there were times like walking home, I was like, this is not probably the route that I want to take. Like when I was living in the city. So then I'm thinking of my life now, and I'm like, no, I'm not really fearful of anything. I don't really have that right now. But as I let it sit a little bit longer, just sat in it. Literally, I fed Noah, after everybody was over last night, and after everybody left, I fed Noah. Dark room, he was asleep, and I'm like, I mean, there is some of this that I need to unpack in that word. And it's fear. Or if there's something else, like, I don't know if it's truly, I'm like, that's where I feel like I'm cracking the door a little bit. This is going to be one that I think has some weight to it that we need to get through. You hear me talk about being a buffalo, right? We need to head on this. This is a space that God's bringing on the plate. I don't know if it's going to land there, but I'll tell you, that word and my initial reaction and then my marinated reaction to it were two very different things. And so, because I mean, I'll be totally truthful. When I hear fear, I'm like, I don't have fear. Fear is weakness. Let's unpack that. Right?
Yes. So you unpack that part, the weakness part.
Yeah.
It's in also knowing what the language is. Do you ever look at the emotions wheel?
Probably not.
Is it fear or is it something else? There are a couple of different versions of the emotions wheel. But yeah, you'd have to dissect it. If you see the center, it's the primary emotion, and then the secondary and tertiary. So is it sad or is it bored? Is it scared or lonely? Or am I just confused? Am I anxious? It's a very interesting thing because we only have the primary emotions and then everything else is an extension of it. I identify as an empathic person. I will give it all day, but can't reflect it back to myself or see it for myself, and then working on that, and then working on emotions and how I respond and receive and all of that. I think it may be a little deeper into that of how I respond with emotions and what then are those emotions telling me that are results. So it's literally trust within myself. It's literally self-trust half the time. I can trust everything else around me to be what it's going to be. Cool, whatever, do what you need to do. But when it comes to me, wait, do I really trust myself?
I love that. One, I'm going to dissect that, probably utilize that also with my 2.5-year-old. See if we can do it with him.
I'd be curious if they have something that's more for like younger. I'm sure they do.
So we have something that we go over. It has about 9 emotions on it, colors associated with those emotions and different faces. And so that on a pretty regular basis here, as just to kind of, utilize. Sometimes we use the emotions. How are you feeling today after you just woke up? Sad. Are you sad? And then he'll be like, excited. I'm like, okay, which one are we?
Both.
Okay, let's unpack that.
Yeah, you could be both and.
Right? So I'm going to learn so much from him with my emotional intelligence journey. But no, I really like that. I like that tool a lot. I'm definitely going to lean on that, I think, a little bit this week as I unpack some things. And it's funny when you were saying this, the trusting yourself, going back, it's like, what are those truths that you keep telling yourself, right? And you embed, you ingrain in you to be able to feel empowered to take that next step, or what are you arming yourself with? And that just keeps going back to that. What are we surrounding ourselves with? And what are we telling ourselves? And what is he telling us? And all those things. It was interesting that my devotional that I was reading last week is like, what am I reading? What am I listening to? So I don't think I said it in that. I think I said it in our conversation afterwards. Live on Purpose is the devotional that I'm reading. The last 2 days, I had to read them both last night because I forgot a couple of days. And the one verse was John 8:32. Literally says, the truth will set you free. I'm like,
wait.
Stop.
So John 8?
John 8:32. The truth will set you free. So the first page, the devotion dove into, it's like, what are the truths that you're surrounding yourself with, right? Not allowing these pressures of the world we live in have these be our truths. Our truths should come within, and they really should come at the guidance of God and the light that he shines through us. The truth will set us free. But then what are we doing for our friends? How are we holding their ladders from last week, right? 1 Thessalonians 5:11 is encourage one another and build others up. And that to me was just like, I find so much truth in that from you, from compassion, my eyes, when I am focused on others and not internally focused, I feel like my gifts shine through at that time. I really find the most value in myself when I am outwardly focused on others and needs and that, the empathy that you're saying, but really it's that compassion and that vision, that perspective and that lens shift that I need and continue on. I thought those were really two great, short and sweet, like, period, mic drop, done, keep it moving.
You don't have to say anything else. This is what it is.
So I wanted to bring that to the space because I think, my analytical brain, my research brain, I was like, let me find something to really bring. Let me find the definition of truth. How many times is it used in the Bible? And I'm like, this is it. Like, it's not about that.
Yeah.
It shows up and it's always around you, and it's the truth will set you free.
Don't you love how you didn't go look for this? It just happened to be what you were working.
Yeah.
I love synchronicities like that.
But it's this space, right? It's this structure that allowed me to see it. That is the truth. That's what I'm talking about, is for myself, is surrounding myself in that.
Yeah.
Because I might have just brushed over that if we didn't decide to put structure around these conversations.
Yeah. That's you paying attention. Thanks.
Yeah, you brought that back.
I want to drop a seed real quick because this has been showing up for me today in the sense of obedience. And it feels, as I'm reading 31 into 32 in John 8, New Living Translation, Jesus said to the people who believed in him, you are truly my disciples if you keep obeying my teachings, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Leading into that, the fact that he said obedience in there, like obeying, it's like, all right, cool. I hear you. I've got a couple books in here that I have highlighted, so I'll hang out with John for a second too. Where do you go with the rest of your week? Obviously, this will be till the day we leave this earth, but where do you feel intentional this week?
Yeah. So one thing that has really stuck with me that I think I'm going to bring forward with me is a saying that came up in our service yesterday. It's a statement. Faith is refusing to forget his goodness. Faith, the act of faith, is refusing to forget, right? Like, through it all, I need to see it more in my day and in my routine to surround myself with that. And so definitely mirror in the bathroom, It's going to show up there. It'll probably show up on the coffee machine because I feel like I hang out there all day too. Find somewhere within my workspace because those are, joking aside, kitchen's a space that I spend a lot of time with. And then just continuing to have him surround me and take that moment of rest because it's a roller coaster. And that one statement will bring this last minutes that we've been spending together up front. Come to my forebrain. Be there, stay there. Let me live in this space, right?
Yeah.
The box open. That's a good space. The other one, Take You at Your Word by Benjamin William Hastings and Corey, I think it's Carnings.
Is that a song?
Yeah. The part that sticks with me that I've highlighted and circled in my book for today is, I'm just going to say a couple bits of it is, and this is the truth leaning on this week is, you said your love will never give up. You said your grace is always enough. You said your heart will never forget or forsake me. You said I am saved. You call me yours. You said my future is full of your, can't read my writing, I'm pretty sure that's hope, love, one of them. And then you've never, so I know that you will never fail me. Those are the truths that I'm going to speak to myself this week.
I love how you tied this all into faith. And the thing that you said of needing to see faith, like the remembrance of it, even though faith is the substance of things hoped for and the things not seen. But it's that tangible remembrance of presence, maybe, is how I'm perceiving it. But it's interesting how you worded that as far as faith, needing to see faith. And yeah, sometimes to tap into all of the senses, what does that look like to continuing to remind us for that faith, that hope, that love, that what you were just talking about there at the end with those lyrics. It's very interesting. Very, very interesting. I think we got to go into faith next week. Since you just dropped that, because between truth, trust, and faith, those are it.
Yeah.
Obviously, love being the most essential of everything. And I know we'll get to that.
I'm sure of it.
Is there anything else that you have?
I do not have anything else.
All right. We will talk about faith next week. And cheers to the journey.
As we bring today's journey to a close, we invite you to carry these reflections into your own wilderness moments this week.
Remember that growth rarely happens in comfortable spaces. It's in the questions, the uncertainty, and yes, even the doubts, where we often discover the essence of ourselves and our faith.
We're so grateful to have you walking alongside us on this path. Until next time, may you trust the journey, embrace the wilderness, and find God in the wild spaces. This has been Faith in the Wild podcast. I'm Angelica McCarthy.
And I'm Nicole Moran. Thank you for listening.
High five.
High five. Love your life.